Welcome to the European CME Forum podcast. I'm Eugene Pozniak, Programme Director of European CME Forum. In today's episode, we're talking about the 19th Annual European CME Forum. The theme this year is Future-Proofing CME CPD. It'll take place in Hopdorf, that's next to Amsterdam Schiphol Airport in the Netherlands, 11th to 13th of November 2026. Early bird registration is now open, as well as the calls for proposals to run a workshop or to present a poster. I'm going to be joined by Lisa Sullivan in a moment to talk through the agenda as it stands so far. But first, a few words about the meeting. This is our capstone event of the year, where we meet for 2.5 days to learn and network, to take stock of the current situation in CME CPD, to identify successes and challenges and to share experiences and best practices. We have two key objectives for the meeting. The first is that there's no blue sky thinking, horizon scanning, or guessing what might be happening in 10 years' time. Fun it may be, but that's the role of other meetings. Our topics are designed, and all the faculty are briefed, to create sessions where participants can become skilled with something they can implement back home. The meeting, in CME speak, it's all about closing the no-do gap. We design for level 4 outcomes. How can we change our practice now? And even level 5, when people come back the following year and present as posters or in sessions what they've implemented themselves. And the second thing, which has become a bit of a mantra for us, no one leaves the meeting with any questions still ringing in their head. So, we design the meeting so that there are very few didactic presentations, but there's plenty of Q&A and open discussion. And you have access to the experts, whether they're on stage at the time or with you in the room, maybe next to you at the table or at the networking breaks. We even have an unscripted session at the end of the meeting called the Unsession, with no plan or agenda other than the single objective to discuss anything that may have been missed during the meeting itself. So let's talk about the agenda. And I'm delighted to be joined by a member of this year's planning committee, the deputy editor of our Journal of CME, Lisa Sullivan. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Eugene.
Thanks for joining me today. People can check the agenda as it stands at cmeforum.org/19ECF. But let's just dive straight in.
Absolutely.
This year, we're going to start at 9 o'clock because there's been a bit of confusion with the pre-meeting sessions before now. So saying, right, the 19th annual meeting starts 9 o'clock on the Wednesday. We'll go straight away into the JECME-led session, with Maureen and Jan, the session about the special collection we're running this year in JECME, the future-ready CPD, balancing innovation with human connection. We'll be in the plenary room, and then we'll have workshops afterwards. And we're asking for suggestions, submissions for a number of workshops, and this will be anything to do with like technology, AI, and how it intersects with human beings. So it's a very open brief. Sorry,
but we are expecting them to be the full 1.5 hours, or are you going to give them options of doing perhaps 2 45s?
That's right, yeah. So in fact, either 1 or 2 45s. So people can submit 90 minutes. We've got the guidance in the documentation. So it's really got to be a hands-on workshop if it's 90 minutes. But if it's like a mixture of presentations, panel discussions and things, you can do 45 minutes. And then you have the option of repeating it as well, because if we have as many submissions as we had last year, we're going to be a bit sort of overrun. And it was a shame to reject some high quality submissions last year. So if we can have, the 45-minute sessions where people change rooms at that stage or stay in the same room for a second topic, we're offering that as well.
Okay, great.
And that's true for all the workshop sessions. They're all 1.5 hours and in that kind of structure.
Okay.
After lunch, we'll look at the CPD needs of the medical professionals. So we're looking to involve here the medical societies, medical associations from the US as well, as they have very strong CME departments there. and we certainly want the Europeans to be present here. And again, for the workshops especially, it's just looking at the medical professionals themselves, and how to address their learning needs and look at maybe learning preferences, as well as how the organizations actually target the learners specifically.
And when you talk about the needs of the medical professionals, are you thinking broadly across all of the professions, or are you thinking that our audience are going to be probably more focused on doctors and nurses?
Yeah, no, good point. And this should include team-based learning, IPC,
Yeah.
the interprofessional education. That all will all sit in this session.
Okay, great. Okay, sounds good.
Okay. And then, yeah, related workshops to finish the day. And we'll have our networking reception in the evening. So this will be to like an hour and a half where people can get together in an informal environment and catch up with each other, make new connections. And in fact, throughout the whole meeting, you'll notice, we've got 1.5 hours for lunch. All the coffee breaks are half an hour. We really stick to time. So there's plenty of time to actually mingle and meet people. Mm.
Yep.
Okay, and then Thursday, we look at it's called sort of funding and compliance challenges, promoting or choking innovation. Yeah, it's sort of deliberately sort of contentious there, I suppose, because we do
Yes.
have some really big challenges going on, especially in Europe. So we want to have a focus on how CME, IME is funded, maybe even the regulatory side of things, the accreditation side of things, what is actually promoting. I mean, the overall theme of the meeting is future-proofing CME CPD, and this is probably a pain point, or the main pain point we have at the moment in Europe.
And of course, with a topic like this, because you've actually made it a little bit controversial in the topic itself, um, from a workshop perspective, are you expecting some controversial topics in those workshops?
Oh, I'm really hoping to. Yes,
Yeah.
certainly. Yeah, I mean, this really, yeah, it's a call for please come to the meeting with your challenges that you're seeing.
Yes.
Whether it's what's going on in the UK. I've spoken to some groups wanting to specifically have a UK dedicated session because it just looks like that's the real choking innovation. There is
Yep.
no IME in the UK. There's no CPD as we know it internationally. UK doctors are being excluded from internationally funded CME. Who sees this as a problem? Our community does, but what next for British healthcare professionals?
Yep. Okay. Great. Excellent.
Okay. Then we have our lunch with the learners, getting to know our audience. So we'll identify some local learners to join us as usual, as we've done right from the first meeting, to actually have an informal chat with sort of CME naive, as it were, learners, and to see how they go about their own learning.
Another thing that would also be interesting if because I know how challenging it can sometimes be for you to find to get the local learners because they're all so busy. It's also worth considering that you could get a much more experienced person to talk about team-based learning because it's the experienced ones that are often involved in managing the team-based learning within the healthcare systems. And so I do wonder whether it might be interesting also to have somebody with more experience to talk about how they create and manage the team-based learning. What do they do? How do they do it? How often do they do it? Does everybody participate? That would be a very interesting discussion with learners.
Yeah, definitely, and have a sort of an interprofessional group as well.
Yes,
So it's not just
yes,
physicians. And we're in the Netherlands where they do a lot of team-based learning and with an advanced healthcare system as well. So that's a good point. Yeah, I'll ask our
mm,
Dutch
mm,
contacts to
yes,
focus on that as well to try and identify some suitable people.
terrific.
Excellent. And after lunch, then we'll have the session on where's the theory in our CME CPD practice. And this is a call we're getting in the feedback as our meeting progresses over all these years. yeah, it's all well and good talking about accreditation or how to get funding from pharma and things, but everyone wants to know how to actually do their jobs better. And there's a massive theory out there that a lot of practitioners just aren't aware of.
Correct.
Yeah, so you'll be leading this one, Lisa. Yeah, so can you
Okay.
tell us a bit? Yeah,
Yeah, no, that sounds good because I think some of our international presenters that are coming are obviously come from a very strong theoretical background. So I think having them as part of that whole session, plus all of our normal attendees, I think that that will be a really interesting component. So definitely worth including. Terrific.
excellent.
And
Yeah, and
I
then
would love to lead that. Yep.
perfect. And then we'll have the workshops as well. We've got some really exciting people already submitting abstracts to get involved in that. Yeah, the and just really decoding, I mean, from my perspective, it's just decoding that mass of excellent literature and how do you actually apply it in everyday practice. And sometimes there's some very simple lessons to learn that will just make us
Correct.
more effective educators.
Correct. Terrific. That sounds great.
Brilliant. And then in the coffee breaks, we'll also have poster tours. In those breaks, our poster authors will be able to present their work, as well as, and we will still select like two or three of the sort
Mm,
of relevant posters, the ones that fit into the plenary program. We do invite a number of poster authors to actually present their work as an oral presentation from the stage.
great. And with the poster sessions at the breaks, we'll do the standard sort of give them 5 minutes so they have 3 minutes to present and then 2 minutes for Q&A so that we can get through them all.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
And then after the break, I've been discussing with Chris Elmett, our independent host of parts of the meeting as well, to develop a fun session, but it's quite contentious. I actually put CME on trial in some way. So we'll have a series of like presentations, bit of gamification, and actually look at our CME environment and really what we need to do to future-proof CME CPD.
Fabulous. Oh, Chris will manage that very well as he always does. So that sounds really great. Looking
Yeah,
forward to
looking
that.
forward. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And then Friday, we'll be in the plenary room and look at the next phase of CME CPD in Europe and actually start unpicking, are we after continuity or redesign? Um, that's the topic, but we're expecting a very, very interesting panel discussion there.
Mm, I'm sure.
Yeah. Update from the Journal of CME. We'll have a few updates for sure. We've been working on a number of things this year, but and we've got a load of submissions as well coming in this year, both for the journal itself as well as the special collections. Lisa, you've been seeing quite a few of these papers. What do you think is
Yes, I have to say that we have been getting some really interesting papers, and some of the studies. I think the interesting thing is that sometimes the studies aren't necessarily focusing from a CME perspective, but once we give that direction to the authors, they've been very strong in re-establishing and rewriting their submissions so that they really do reflect the importance of how their studies impact and will continue to impact CME. So yeah, we've had some very interesting stuff. So I think the journal's going to be looking very strong.
great news? And then we're here, we've got CME around the world. And to be frank, actually, we set up this session very close to the meeting because we see who actually comes from around the world, from interesting areas, job functions and things. And then we plan this session much closer. So if you are from outside Europe and sort of interested to coming to the meeting, get in touch. And let's see how we can create a session that can showcase your experiences in your own country as well.
And I think it is a very interesting session because, and that's what I think has made it so successful over the years, because you have had a variety of people involved coming from different systems and different structures of how their CME is placed. And I think it's important for everybody at the ECF to recognize what else goes on in the world, because a number of them are involved in international development and deployment. So I think this continues to be a really important session. And I have to say, you do this very well every year, Eugene. So looking forward to that one again.
Excellent, thank you. No, but that's down to the quality of the presenters. I mean, each year I'm actually really, there's so many lessons to learn. I'm surprised by how developed and advanced CME CPD
Mm.
systems are in countries that you sort of,
Yes.
as a Western European, you don't really think about CME CPD thriving elsewhere, but it's incredible the high quality stories
Yes,
here. Mm.
absolutely.
And then we finished the whole meeting with the CME on session. So it's just a buffer time in the program just to make sure that people do not leave the meeting with any questions still ringing in their heads. It's a very collaborative meeting. It's not huge, but the faculty are there as learners. The learners are there as faculty as well from the floor, and we have an opportunity just to have an open discussion to tie off any loose ends. And
Mm.
literally, so by the time we hit 12:30 and it's time to go, people are satisfied that they've really been armed with the answers that they came looking for.
Yeah, and I have to say, I always look forward to that session because there's always a question or two that you haven't actually asked, or that somebody else is going to ask, and you think, oh gee, I thought about that 2 days ago, but I forgot to ask it. So I think that sort of closing session is really valuable because it gives us all a time to reflect on what we've actually learned, and to bring up any issues that we need to discuss, in those final moments. So it's a very worthwhile session, definitely.
That's great. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. It's great discussing the program with you. And I look forward to
My
carry on
pleasure.
planning this conference with you as well.
Yep, terrific. I'm looking forward to it as well, Eugene, as always.
Thank you. Thanks for your time today, Lisa. All right.
Okay.
Cheers. See you.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye-bye. More information about 19ECF is available at the website, where you'll find information about the agenda, details of the calls for proposals to lead a workshop or to present a poster, and of course the early bird registration. Make sure you're signed up to the website, not just to receive regular updates, but to have access to our past activities and the largest resource about CME in Europe. Get in touch with any thoughts or ideas, and I look forward to seeing you at 19ECF. Thank you for listening, and join us next time as we explore all things CME CPD.